All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read alouds there will brighten their day. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Behind the Book. I'm Miss Erica, the teacher lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, all this week, we are going to be talking about moving and transition. How do you help your little one to start their new beginning? And honestly, to feel okay doing so, because we all know starting over or change is difficult at any age, but especially when it comes to our littles. And we're going to be using literature to be able to do so. So on today's Behind the Book segment, we will be going over and doing a review on Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away. In this review, we will be going over the glows, what I think was done well, the grows, what I think could have been done a little bit better, and how to utilize it as a resource with your little one, and who should be adding this to their home library, all in this segment of Behind the Book, where we go beyond the pages to get to the heart of the story. We started this week with our 2 read alouds, and then we have Behind the Book, and then on Friday, we will be wrapping it all up with the Teacher Lady Speaks, which is a crash course or professional development on how to help your child to transition or start their new beginning. All right, for now, that is enough of random talking. You ready? Let's grow. Summary in my own words. Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away is truly a personal story. It's the story of 2 girls that were living in the same apartment building, and then one of them ends up moving. And it kind of takes you through their journey of saying goodbye, which I really appreciate. It's a heartfelt story that most people are able to relate to because it has to do with, well, change. So in short, it's a feel-good story in the sense that you really get to know these 2 girls and how close they are. And it also really gets to the heart of what we're talking about all this week, which is transition, change, and starting over. What was the take-home message, and was it clearly communicated to the target audience? The take-home message is really rooted in the process of saying goodbye. I feel like the take-home message is that this is a normal but painful part of life, that those emotions are very real for the children experiencing them. And overall, I just feel like the book is this reminder that you are not the only one that is going through this situation. In terms of target age group, the book does state that it is for children 5 to 7 years old. And I would agree with a caveat. I feel like you can go a bit younger. I feel like children who are neurotypical, who are starting to get into literacy, would be able to understand this book about 4 years old. I always put the caveat that if your child is neurodivergent, if they're an English language learner, always take those into consideration. But overall, I feel like the images are super clear, the words are really simple, and that children 4 years old and up would be able to understand. I do feel like children 8 years old and up might be a bit bored by the simplicity of the text. So I feel like a target age group is 4 to 7 years old, briefly expanding on what they had already stated. The glows and what I think was done well. One of the glows is that she added Spanish. So their relationship, the main character in the book speaks Spanish, or Evelyn Del Rey speaks Spanish, but that is a piece of how they communicate. And I really appreciated that small detail. It's just a few words being added in because I feel like it clearly illustrates their relationship. I also really loved the neighbors being shown and the different little things that the neighbors did, because again, it adds a lot of personalities to the book. It adds an element of feeling connected, right? And so I feel like the author did a really great job at painting a picture of that day for her, which is another glow for me. The details of the truck and it looking like an open mouth, the neighbors in the building, them playing hide and go seek, and, you know, the mom saying, hey, I need you to, come out. It's time to go. And so all of these details of them kind of running through the hallway and playing with each other and saying goodbye are all glows for me, because when it comes to children, trying to understand things like transitioning, having that visual is going to go a long way with them. My last glow is a lot of times with children's stories, when we get to the end, it's always a fairy tale ending. It's always like, and then she got to her new house, and then we were able to move next door, and everything was great. And this one ends by saying, she'll always be in my heart. And I really appreciate that, because I feel like our job as child authors is to give this child an experience, and sometimes that experience is mirrored with truth. And the truth is, she will always be in her heart, but she will not always be next door. And the honesty of this book, while also being super delicate to the situation, makes it a definite glow for me. Grows are what I think could have been done better. Overall, I think that this was a really beautiful book and dedication to their friendship. If I had to give a grow, there's a curiosity on the expansion of their friendship past the move. So they've now moved, and the book closes off by her saying that Evelyn Del Rey will always be in her heart. Then what? And I think that the then what and the curiosity could really help children who are facing this situation. Are you able to write letters to each other? Are you able to see each other once a year? What happened next? I would say is my only grow. And it's not a grow as even a critique, but it's based in curiosity and wondering if, however you handled the situation, could be helpful for the readers. All in all, I really appreciate this book. I feel like it's extremely useful if your family is going through the same situation. How to use this book as a resource to have a more meaningful discussion with your child. I believe that this book is best utilized as a mirror for the situation that your child is facing. If you've bought this book, or if you're reading this book because your family is about to transition, you can utilize it stopping between pages to kind of hold space and hold discussions. Like in the book, when she talks about the moving truck coming, you can ask your child, what does moving day feel like for you? How should we best prepare to move? Do you think it's a good idea to have your friends over on the last day? I would use the examples in the book to bring them into your real life situation, because what will happen is you've now created a space for your child to express their feelings, right? So they might have the anxiousness knowing that they're moving, not really sure what that's going to mean for their friendships or their new lives. And if you can use the text and those experiences and bring them in, I feel like it would be helpful. Let me give you an example. We find a still empty box near the door. In no time, I am a bus driver steering us all over the city. We play until the tables that were bus stops are gone, and the beds that were skyscrapers have vanished too. When we look around, everything has disappeared except us. So this is a page of them playing while the parents are packing and the moving is going on. And so if this were my situation, I could ask Addie, on the last day and on the moving day, there's so much going on, right? There's movers, there's boxes being packed. Do you think that it would be helpful to have your best friend over on the very last day to say goodbye? Or do you think it would be easier for you if we did that ahead of time, right? And more than you looking for the actual concrete answer, what you're trying to do is encourage your child to open up, because children just need a small door cracked, baby. And once you crack that door and they understand it's safe for them to get to talking, they're going to start talking. And then you'll hear how they're going to feel about their new school, their nervousness leaving their sports team. What if they don't like the food? What about their doctor? Then it starts to come out. And when those emotions and those feelings come out, you're able to help them cope, because change is major for anybody, let alone small children. Who should add this to their home library? If you are in the process of transitioning, and it does not have to be that a friend is moving or that you are moving, but there's some major transition that's taking place. It could even be the transition of life. if you have somebody, passing away. We have a whole week on grief, but this book can also be a resource because it's such a major life change. Anytime there's a major life change or transition, you can utilize this book as a resource to be able to hold those uncomfortable conversations and to get your child to open up. So to answer the question, if you have young children, I would say 8 or younger, who are in the process of going through a big change, I would definitely invest and add this to your home library. Final thoughts. My final thoughts are that moving and transition is such a big deal for any child, any person at any age. And books will always be that resource when it comes to helping them go from one thing to another, especially if your child does not do well with their routine being disrupted. My neurodivergent babies, my babies who are autistic, children in general struggle with change. If there is another added element to that, you definitely want to start preparing ahead of time. And books, specifically Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away, is a great resource to have and to begin that conversation. Wow, that was a mouthful. I'm so appreciative of this book. If you have not done so, go check out the Teacher Lady Reads playlist where we have a read aloud of this book. Then on Friday, make sure that you check out the Teacher Lady Speaks episode, because that is where I house all the resources and information, all the guides and helpful insights to prepare your child for their big transition. Or if they've already transitioned and they ain't doing so well, that playlist and that Teacher Lady Speaks episode airing on Friday will be extremely helpful for you. It's basically a crash course or a professional development when it comes to this week's topic. Lastly, I want to bring your attention to the fact that I too am an author and illustrator. And I run a pay it forward program called the Empathy Library. The Empathy Library is a straightforward book donation program. You go on a website, you give what you can. We buy books, we give them to children who are in need. Or on the flip side of that, if you are an educator and you support children in literacy from low income backgrounds, you can be sure to go on there and sign up to receive books. I am moving through the wait list as quickly as possible, but as we receive donations, we buy books. They go to the children that needs them. It's beautiful, a dream come true, because every baby deserves to have books that reflect their life, their identity, their culture, and their situation. Okay, thank you so much for learning with me, for being part of this growing book community. I really appreciate y'all. And until next time, remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.